Okay, I am legit at the point where I think this might be a what not to do when building your van, like, blooper YouTube channel, because I have effed this up so many times now. The real battle now is not fixing it, it's just my mind games of like not beating myself up so I can keep going, and just massive amounts of frustration tolerance. There are moments where I'm like, I just want to cry, and then I think, what's that gonna do? That's not gonna help. And so I just had to go get more lap sealant, and I let myself cry in the car on the way to go get that. And I called a friend, and they were like, hey, have you ever done this before? Okay, cool. Well, maybe don't be so hard on yourself. And, you know, easier said than done, but I'm doing the thing, and I haven't messed anything up that I haven't been able to fix so far. So, yeah, I mean, it's a learning curve, and I have legit never done this before. So if you're feeling frustrated, know that you're not alone. Yeah, beyond frustrated at some point. So this has been really hard, and I just want you to know that it's okay if it's hard for you too. And hopefully it's just not this hard for you. Hello, Hillary here with Stella J, my Ford Transit 15-seat passenger wagon that I am converting into a camper van. It is week 3 here in my van conversion, and I got my Max fan in the mail today. So I'm going to be installing it. So if you haven't done this yet, you're in good company, because neither have I, and we're gonna figure it out together. So I'm back to put my headliner back up, and I realized that I think I probably just put too much insulation up there, so there's not enough room to squish for me to get it back up where it needs to be to get all the screws in. So I'm gonna take a little bit of insulation out of that side there and see if I can get it back up. Fresh arms. Okay, so my fan's in, and I've done a lot of research already. I know that I need a 14 by 14 piece of cardboard. I am putting it in between those ribs right there. So I have measured this a million times. I brought a different measuring tape, and I brought my straight edge, and I am going to cut this now and make sure it's the right size. Okay, so I had my 14 by 14, and then I just found the center of this, and I put a little hole in it because I'm going to now put it on the roof and drill my center hole in here so we can see what I'm doing from the top. So I know that that is my center, and I know where to start from on the top. My first hole. I'm doing it. Oh, and I moved it instead of in between these two. When I cut out my 14 by 14, it seemed like I was gonna have to drill through this ribbing a little bit, and I just don't want to do it. So I'm just gonna move it more towards the center. It's like not the end of the world. You gotta be flexible, right? So this is what I got, and this is what I'm doing. Okay, as you can see, I'm running out of daylight, but I cut the hole. It is the right size. I just I filed the edges and I let the Rust-Oleum dry. I'm hoping it's dry enough. It's supposed to rain over the next couple of days. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna put butyl tape on the edge of the hole. And something I read when I was researching, or saw before in someone else's video, is that you want one continuous strip of butyl tape because you're looking for as few points of entry as possible for water to get in. So I kind of did a little bit of a hack job on one corner of one side because there was a part that came off of the jigsaw when I was doing it and I couldn't figure out how to get it back on. And I couldn't find the blade for my dad's jigsaw, so there's one that's a little wonky, but I think once it's all put together, it's gonna be totally fine. So I'm gonna go do that, but I just wanted to tell you what I'm doing before I do it. So last night was really hard. The headliner was difficult yesterday, putting that back up. I actually wound up finding some different screws to put it up, but it is up. I did take some of the insulation out that I had put in there. I think it was taking up too much room. And then, as you can see, I have a hole in my van, and that was extremely frustrating to say the least. I didn't do myself any favors by starting it too late too. Once I finished the headliner, I was like, do I do this today? And then I looked at the weather for the week and I was like, well, this is probably the only time I'm gonna have to do it. So I went ahead and got started. I measured my 14 by 14 piece of cardboard. I marked it, I cut it, I put the trim of the fan in to see if it fit, and I thought that it did, and then come to find out once I had the butyl tape and lap sealant all around it and holes drilled and all of that good stuff, it took a long time. Yeah, the lip of the sealed edge wasn't totally through on the inside. In a couple of spaces my hole was a little bit too small. So better than too big, right? Totally fixable, but I had to take everything off and it was just a total mess, total disaster. There was lap sealant everywhere, all over all my tools, just trying to get it all in time before anything dried. And then I wound up breaking the blade of the jigsaw. So I had to go get an angle saw that my dad had, and that didn't really want to work, but I made it work. So my hole is not pretty by any means. It is quite jagged. And also when I started putting it up in this section instead of the section I originally wanted to put it in, I realized that this part of the roof is quite flexible. So there was a lot of give and unevenness when I started installing the fan itself. So word to the wise if you're out there, as appealing as it may be to get a passenger van for all the windows that are already there, and yeah, it's just a lot of work. It's a different beast because it's really hard to even find information out there for me on what I need to do as far as the passenger van goes, because so many people have converted cargo vans. That being said, we're almost done with the fan, and this is the only hole, the main hole that I'm gonna have to cut in the van. I'm gonna do a vent fan on the floor near the front so I can have airflow, and then I'll have to, maybe, there are some existing holes in the ceiling I might be able to use for solar. So, hard work is done. Annoying stuff is done. It is a new day. I have showered and I'm about to put the fan in so we can test to see if there are any holes over the next couple of days with the rain. As you can see, we are in, we have lap sealant around everything. I do see a couple spots in the daylight where I can do a better job around the screws where I put lap sealant, and there are a couple little holes on the sides, some more air bubbles that happen. So I'm going to install the fan and then put a little lap sealant on and leave it. Although, man, it doesn't look like rain, but it's not supposed to. Fingers crossed. At this point, I feel like this could be a bloopers reel of how not to install a fan in your van. I came out this morning to put this on top, and I realized that I put this whole thing in effing upside down. Like, I can't even really express the amount of frustration right now. And like, luckily everything was still tacky. I took the butyl tape off and I just re-butyl taped it, and I'm putting it back in the right way. So I'm thinking also that my hole was probably the right size the first time too. So I'm gonna go check underneath, make sure we're good, and then I probably need to go to the store and get some more lap sealant. But yeah, you want to make sure that your little silver parts are sticking up and on either side of the van. So don't do what I've done now 57 times and keep effing it up. Alright, y'all. Moral of this story is you can mess up over and over and over again. Don't give yourself too hard of a time, and we got the thing done. It wasn't pretty. I got a real wonky hole on the inside, but I'm hoping I can just seal it all up, and yeah, it's gonna work. So here's hoping in the next couple of days we get some rain. The sun is out now, so that should do a nice job baking everything I just put up there. And we'll know in a few days whether we have any leaks or not. So yeah, thanks for sticking with me. I hope that wasn't as painful for you as it was for me. And yeah, life is gonna go on. See you next time. And don't forget to subscribe and like if you like watching me fumble around.